All right, y'all, we are working on number 14 right now. So the number 14, let me clear this stuff first, this mess. Number 14 is going to be the one that involves square roots, or not square roots, quadratics. So the first thing I want to do on this problem, do I have a radical on one side? I do. Is everything else on the other side? It is. So let's go ahead and rock and roll. We're going to square both sides to get rid of this stuff. And what do I end up with? Well, on this first one, I'm going to end up with this 8x plus 1. Write that in. 8x plus 1 equals, and then this is x plus 2 squared. So, not a big deal. What am I going to do next? I'm going to expand my parenthesis. I'm going to have an x plus 2 times an x plus 2. I'm going to do x plus 2 times x plus 2 is equal to 8x plus 1. Now remember the goal, you'll see what happens when we do this. When I do this foiling thing, I'm going to try to do it color-coded so you can see it a little bit clearer. I'm going to go x times x, see that right there. And then I'm going to go x times 2 from here. I'm going to do it again, go back, and then I'm going to do x times 2 right here. Then I'm going to go back to this 2. So right here, I have a 2x. And then I'm going to go, let me get my purple, go back, and I'm going to multiply this one right here. 2 times 2. So let's make sure we write this out correctly. I'm going to do this. Here it goes. Equals x squared. Where did I get that? I'll underline the colors in a second. X squared, then plus 2x, then going over here, 2x, and then 2 times 2 is 4. And for anyone who's lost, I'm going to push pause and underline the colors. All right, this is basically what I wrote down. You can see where each of those comes from. So if you're still struggling on foiling, which is just distribution with extra steps, if you're still struggling on that, hopefully that clears it up a little bit. So you can see where I got my numbers. My red line, x times x is x squared. The orange line, x times 2 is 2x. Blue line, 2 times x is 2x. Purple line, 2 times 2 is 4. So now you're going to combine like terms. X squared is fine. 2x plus 2x is 4x. And now you have this plus 4. Now you're going to subtract your 8x on both sides. Why? Because look at this x squared, y'all. We now have to solve, basically, this equation. And it's going to be quadratics. So we got to set everything equal to 0. 4 minus 8 is negative 4x plus 4. And I have this 1 I want to get rid of too. So I'm going to subtract the 1 on both sides as well on the same step. So I subtract the 1 here. I'm going to replace that underneath. Here we go. I'm going to write it. X squared minus 4x. And then this 4 minus 1 is technically a 3. Kind of wrote it janky, but hopefully you kind of see it. When I'm done with this, these cross out right here. That's completely done. And what I end up with is this. So I end up with x squared minus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. But now I have to factor it. So I'm going to take us back up here, and I'm going to factor this. I'm going to factor x squared minus 4x plus 3. How do I do that? My a is 1. My b is negative 4. My c is 3. And my ac is 3. So let's look what we got. It has to multiply to AC and add up to negative 4. In the interest of time, I know it's going to be negative 1 and negative 3. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Negative 1 plus negative 3 is negative 4. So I have found my terms, which means when I factor, I end up with this. I write x minus 1 and x minus 3, and it's equal to 0 down here. It's equal to 0 down here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for this. So my x minus 1 comes over here, and I set it equal to 0. My x minus 3, I set it equal to 0. And I end up with x equals 1 for my problem, and I end up with x equals 3 with this. So now I have to go back, Lord y'all, I have to go back to the original equation and plug in both of these solutions. This is a mamma jamma of a problem. So I have to go back and plug in both of these answers. So what does that look like? Well, check it out. I'm just going to start by putting in the 1. I'll just go straight up here and do it. 8 times, square root of 8 times 1, see that right there, plus 1. And again, it's the original equation. Ignore that red. Equals, plugging in my x value, which is 1, plus 2. And if you're wondering where I'm getting it, here's my x equals 1. This is the equation I'm focusing on. So 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So the square root of 9 equal to 1 plus 2, which is 3. Square root of 9 is 3. Is this true? It is. This is true. So that means this is a correct answer. It is not extraneous. Okay, now that we basically have solved for that and we know that x equals 1 is true, you have to go back and do the same thing and plug in 3. I am not going to solve that for you. You know what to do. You're going to be checking this one right here. Check this one here and go plug into the original one. I'm going to leave 15 unsolved. I want y'all to solve this one. And anybody who can solve this one, I'm going to give extra bonus points to. Good luck.